All right, welcome everyone. Got the weekly meeting of the developer DO website. It was kind of short notice, so maybe not all the attendance that we'd hope for, but figure we'd just dive right into the agenda. So first is that introduction. I guess that actually happens before the agenda, and the only thing I'll bring out of that then is the fact that it's a narrow discussion around the website and other things. If they do come up, probably should just be tabled and then handled under whatever the appropriate group or channel is for that. With this, I will be referring to the DevDAO community meeting notes. So it's a repo under the developer DAO GitHub, and I can't show it because I'm showing my Discord right now, but that's where you can find that. I think we all know each other that's here. There we go. With heart, just posted that in the chat. Does anyone have anything before we get into the action item review in terms of introduction type stuff? Okay, action item review. So from last time, the only action item was for with heart to document who controls what, and that was related to our GitHub organization, our repos, also on GitHub, Discord server administrative or moderator rights, and then our hosting and social, which he has done that. That's in the meeting notes. We probably should move that out to a other page so that it doesn't get lost in the meeting notes forever. But we at least have that document now, and of course it will have to be maintained over time. Got anything else on that?
I did want to just throw out that Daiwat expressed interest in becoming a triage role on the site repo, and NARB and I kind of talked about it a little bit in the discussion about the roles. So I added him as a maintainer. So we have 2 new people on the team.
Taking the plunge here, boys. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. It's gonna be really great. I think there's still so much to figure out about this thing, but it's we got a really good crew here, good people, so keep doing what we're doing.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's gonna be just like a learn as you go kind of thing. So I think it'll evolve as time wears on. But yeah, it'll work out. It'll work out.
For sure.
Good stuff.
Or it won't, whatever.
Yeah.
It just keeps going no matter what.
Thanks. Yeah. All right, that brings us up to triage. Convenient, good segue. Talking about people taking on triage roles or maintainer roles to do triage. So issues, we have our kind of rolling query, though it's not rolling yet. So looking at it, there are 12 open issues, and most of them seem to have a good amount of progress. The one thing that I want to bring a highlight to is the translations. So they seem to take longer than most things, and I think kind of the inertia, or at least the inertia I feel towards doing any of those, is that I speak English, so I don't have any understanding. And I kind of a question for us is, do we want to only have native speakers do translations, because obviously that is a higher quality in terms of reading correctly, or do we want to just say, hey, we need to translate this and it's good enough to translate the phrase using machine learning and then post whatever the answer is and hope that someone will tell us if we've got some kind of crazy grammatical failure going on.
Yeah, this one's tough because it's so I remember looking at a couple of the PRs, and it's they're people added the translations for whatever languages they knew, but then they got stuck on the different forms of Chinese, for example. So then I pointed the person, I forget who it was, to basically ask for help in the various channels. And it looks like somebody stepped up and added those translations. But yeah, it's my only fear with like going the machine learning route or like Google Translate route is like the translations like will be like too literal and it'll come out wrong in like a given language and it might like put someone off or confuse them. So I don't know. I don't think there's a good automated solution around this. I think with her and I also kind of discuss this back and forth a bit, but
Yeah, it's a weird problem. I was actually thinking we could. I've been trying to think of like projects that we could do, just like tooling for ourselves, and I think this could be something where we could like build a dashboard that can like show the missing keys from each language that we can just like have on the site. And then it's like, hey, if you're the type of person that wants to, as a contributor, you want to be a translator, you can go here and you can see all of the missing keys. And you can see like we can even check and see if there are certain keys that already have PRs, like we could hide those or make it clear that they already have a PR or something. So we can get some clarity around that, like just in one place. And it could be fun to build that too. So
it'd be something to just like scrape the repo, be like, and for all the common JSON files, be like, do a compare contrast between them.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like just seeing, I don't know if we would compare all the locales to the fallback. Like, it seems like English is the only one that has consistently had all translations, I think. So we could compare to that. We could compare them to each other and just find all missing keys, like whatever. But I don't think that would take a lot of effort.
Yeah, even if we looked at the actual, templates, components, whatever you want to use, but for all of those variables, because it doesn't matter if we have, like, yeah, we don't want to be translating for the sake of translating if we have dead code or dead translations sitting around. And maybe that's a larger, like, well, we won't have that because we're going to prevent that from ever happening. We'll delete translations as we go.
Right. I've been meaning to look into ESLint plugins for I18N. I feel like that would be a good case for it. Like we can maybe have that check and see like if there's keys that aren't used that can report errors. I'm not sure.
Yeah, my impression is there.
Yeah, if we could like automate that, would be great.
Yeah.
I'm really just hoping that there's already something, either that or like a GitHub action that already exists, and it's like, all right, we'll just do this and don't have to deal with a bunch of crap with it.
Yeah.
It's an open source. Like someone somewhere has surely already done this.
Yeah, it must be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that addresses issues, unless anyone has any issues they're related to that they want to bring up. All right.
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, we have the landing page revamp. Arbiano, I don't know if you're here and want to talk about it yet.
Yeah, I'm around. I probably should introduce myself. I think it's the first time I'm here. So hi everybody. I'm Martin. I'm from Argentina. So yeah, I'm actually like I completed the dark mode page based on the like I was waiting for some comments on the first iteration I made. And like since I've seen some of like suggestions mainly for text, that made me think that kind of the overall structure seems to be solid. So I just kind of made the dark mode that's known on the Figma file. So I think from now on, what needs to be done is to basically fine tune the text, which could be done in parallel while I create the also a bit of like I wanted to work a bit on the responsiveness of this to maybe provide some kind of like version just for mobile or something like that. But I feel like that could be in parallel with like trying to kind of fine tune the wording, especially for the part where we have like the features. So anyone who's like up to kind of help with that part can just like either kind of create a document file or just jump into Figma and change the text in there where suits you best. How's
Yeah, I
this
think
sound?
I think like the more we can parallelize with this, the
Yeah.
more I think that everybody's just kind of waiting to like have something to do, and I think this is a pretty good first like big thing for us to all do. So I think that's kind of my priority going into it is like not to like totally change the subject, but just like getting into parallelizing things. Like I think that would be good. Just like have multiple streams of conversation going on it. Like you know, tweaking the design a little bit, also talking about like the text and the content that's on the page. Maybe even having a separate conversation for the token changes that we see that will be needed for the theme. Like I think we could kind of discuss all these things at the same time, really.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Agree. And the other thing that I feel like it could be important is to maybe start setting up the like because we talk about like changing some stuff on the chakra theme. So maybe I don't know, setting up those tokens so we already have like the color on like the typeface update and all that already set. Not sure how you want to handle that part, but like I think that's something also that could be handled in parallel, like to start the implementation phase of this.
Yeah, for sure. I would really like to like whoever wants to tackle that. I would love it if like I would like to pair, and if anybody else wants to pair, we can kind of talk about Chakra's theming system and how that works. Like I think doing that as a group would probably be really informative and helpful for us in the long run.
Mhm.
Yeah, I I'm actually interested in to participate in like on that. So maybe we could do some kind of pair on a channel, and whoever is up to can join, something like that.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I know Daiwat had expressed interest in doing the technical work of it, and really, with Hart, I know you can speak more to it, but the the designing of dark mode to me seems like it might be lost work just because Chakra has the color modes built in. So specifically customizing and ferrying in, oh, we want whatever details done. I think we probably, this is just my opinion, I don't do design professionally, but we probably want to see what dark mode will look like based on the light design and then work on any overrides that are necessary from there.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's, oh, go ahead.
I'd love to see that pair as I'd love to join that pair as well, guys. See it happen.
Yeah, like who is anybody here not a VS Code user?
We must have one Vim Lord somewhere.
I mean, I use
No,
Vim a lot, but VS Code's where it's at.
yes, see, there's a Vim extension for VS Code, so why not both?
I like Vim more for some things, and I like VS Code for like, especially if I'm in TypeScript. Oh my god, it's just the best there is. But I could talk about VS Code and my love for it all day, so I won't. I was just asking because like we can do live share and like have one person host the session, and then anybody can like have access to edit, or like you can open the tab of another person and just follow what they're doing, and we could just kind of like I don't know. I've always wanted to try mob programming something, and I've like done it at work, but I feel like it would work really well for us too, as we're all kind of learning. So if we're down to try it, I would love to do that.
Yeah,
Come in.
I mean,
Yeah, hell yeah. I think it'd be really fun.
Do you want to suggest some times after the call, maybe?
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, I hate this because there's just such a like there's so much effort involved in like finding a time that works for people in so many places that I'm just like, yeah, I'll suggest a time, but I don't have fucking clue if it's good or bad for other people.
No, I'd say just do it and then maybe do it again. I feel, and I don't know everyone's time zone. I know Daiwat is living significantly off of our kind of Eurocentric time, like we're using UTC, I think he's well ahead of that moving east.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
maybe do one when works for you, and maybe if you can coordinate a time that works for Daiwat and you.
Yeah, I'll try one of the people suggested some tools that let you schedule, so maybe I'll try one of those and see. Because I'd really like him to like lead this since he wanted to do the technical thing if if he's comfortable with it. But then I'm also thinking like watch him be the one person who doesn't use VS Code.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That sounds fun. For Angel and Manny, you guys just joined, we're talking about trying mob programming with VS Code's live share extension for like talking through the chakra theme changes that we'll need for the landing page and just kind of like experiencing that all together, kind of like leveling up as a group.
Ooh, I like that. Are you going to take the lead on that and just record the whole thing, or as well?
So Daiwat had expressed interest. He's unfortunately not here, so we were just talking about like I would like him to like lead it if he wants to, and then go from there. But yeah, we could definitely record it. And I was gonna like try to schedule a time with one of the apps that people suggested for times, so maybe we can find something that works well for almost all of us.
It would be great to utilize the YouTube channel. This would be an opportunity, right, Kemp?
I stream it.
Well, you don't have to live stream it, just as a post, right? Like as a walkthrough of the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that up. I certainly don't see why not.
Who has access to that?
So me at the moment, I just set it up so we could put it in the onboarding flow to start building up the subscriber list. It has not been used for anything yet. There's like one unlisted thing on there that was in an early meeting, but it's not being used for anything. I just basically like domain parked it so we could get it, so we had it already.
I'm adding it to the list. Got to go on the permissions list.
One more thing that I think would be cool for the end product, and not something that we need to do now, but at some point is that like on the this wall of tweets, I think it would be nice if we kind of coordinate that at the moment of shipping we actually kind of make some tweets by ourselves that are kind of curated in a way that it talks like in the wording that we want, so then we can highlight those on the page. But also we can coordinate that later. It's not urgency now.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
But on the tweets, are we going to make like a static tweet
Yeah,
thing rather than use the Twitter API?
I would prefer that.
Yeah,
Especially because the Tweet API, if you use the embed, that kind of comes with so many trash.
Yeah, it's a cool little project as well, like within the page.
Alright. That actually is a good idea. I will add that to a proposed feature project.
We could probably go nuts and have like an ID for a tweet. This is getting a pretty meta considering the conversation, that have like a JSON somewhere with IDs for the tweets, and then every time you deploy it, it builds those tweets, so we can just add them to that JSON rather than having to go in and build them.
Yeah, but that kind of takes away from the authenticity then, if you're making, from what I'm understanding that.
Now, what I mean is, we use Versal, right? I swear I've seen like the DevRels at Netlify and Versal, like several of them post like, I wanted to improve my performance blog posts, so I removed the Twitter JS and automated the tweets that are posted on my website by just putting in the ID, and like functions then go and get the information and populate a component.
Got it. So you're talking about like mocks.
Yep.
Like mock requests. Got it.
Yeah, as long as it links to the actual tweet, So it can be kind of like we're not faking tweets. I think that's fine if we're not just kind of using the embed.
And
Oh
someone,
yeah, real tweets, but we're rather than using Twitter.js, just creating a component which creates those like the same thing, just without all of the extra weight on the page.
and that would let us possibly insert Discord comments. Someone had talked about being able to render those. So if we don't claim, like, if we make it clear that this is a captured Discord thing by, say, tweet, we could put that in kind of the same flow, even though it's different data sources.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Martin, on there's another PR going on, right, with on-site minting. Is the plan to fold that into this, and then those buttons go to wherever we're doing that on-site minting, or have we not thought that far?
Yeah, I was like, one of the first suggestions was to add some kind of helpful info about how to mint on this page, but then I saw that there was like this direct minting PR, so I thought it was like pretty like a good use of space, and also like to not kind of have too much information on the homepage, to just make this become a member call to actions to just go to that page. Not sure if you all agree with that.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. I think the biggest thing is kind of like explaining, like in a short summary, that like to join like the Discord, you need to mint the NFT, and kind of like basically what the purpose of minting the NFT is, and like what the purpose, and like what it represents, and what it grants you access to, and whatnot.
I think in a perfect world, sorry, I keep forgetting I've got a really loud keyboard. Having all of that on the homepage would probably be a good thing, but I don't feel particularly strongly about it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like a huge blurb. It's just like a couple sentences worth. Like, oh, if you want to join, you got to mint the NFT, and then, oh, you want to mint the NFT, click this button.
Yeah.
Magic happens.
You think we should add that like into the like as a standalone thing, or like on the features section that we're kind of already added? Because there's one element, like it says like private Discord access, which is where it's kind of like described, but there's no mint process or anything.
Yeah, I mean, thinking from like a conversion point of view, taking someone on that journey down that page to developers meet Web3. Here's these people saying this awesome shit about who we are and what we do. Here's some anecdotal benefits of joining, and then the next thing for me, if I was trying to convert people, would be, here's how you join, click this button. Does that make sense? Or here's how you join, click this button, and it takes you to another page where it explains it in more detail. Try and taking someone on that like psychological journey of what's the developer, what's the DAO, why would I join, how do I join? If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think
like you tell the story. Yeah, go for it.
I think because we're trying to reach people who are not necessarily at all into Web3 yet, we probably want it to be its own page or section of the page that doesn't get in the way of other function, because we may be talking someone up from here are wallets you can pick from, go get one of them, all the way through having the money to pay for gas in order to mint the NFT. So I think having all of that right in your face is probably too much.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I was kind of thinking about it from like an NFT launch website point of view, but like I think you're totally right. Like a lot of the people, maybe the vast majority of the people that we're targeting, haven't had that on ramp elsewhere yet, so they might need hand holding quite a lot.
Probably a handy like, okay, I don't need all of this information, let's just jump to the point where I mint, would be good for people who are familiar with minting NFTs.
But I do like the idea, what you mentioned to, or kind of alluded to, is the idea that like, hey, I don't have the money to pay for this gas. Is there a section that talks about that so that we kind of make it a little bit more accessible?
If I can comment on this, like I think that can just verify, like do like a if window.ethereum, it implies that they already have a wallet installed. So you maybe do a check, like if they pass these parameters, open the directly to minting, and you assume that they might know something, and then if they don't have that, then it just links them to the how to get started in Web3 page or whatever.
My worry with that is that makes a huge assumption as well. Like I'm still kind of going in the idea that if you're going to mint something, right? Like even if you have a wallet, you might want to know what the benefits are before you lay down some hard cash, right? So that's my thinking behind things, right?
Yeah, I think it would be good to give people a quick escape hatch to not have to read that information, but also have that information there. And I'm sure we can do that with like primary, secondary buttons, and also making use of like if someone doesn't have a wallet, or if someone does have a wallet, then we might not need to tell them to install a wallet. Or like I think that's also useful as well. But I think we can give people that know what they're doing an escape hatch to not have to go through all those motions and just go straight to minting would be good. But also we do need to accommodate for people that are completely like noob.
There's also like an alternative funnel in here, I think, which is like you can actually join Discord without minting, right? I actually did that before minting. Just don't see a lot of channels. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's just a bit of onboarding at the moment.
Yeah, so that's also a very big moment to actually explain about Mint and the rest of the channels, right? Because it seems like that user has already joined on Discord, so there's kind of an express interest. So it might be a bit like more efficient to maybe try to teach about minting and all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
I would just refer back to the website in your onboarding, right? Just like look at this website page. This explains everything, right? You kind of kill two birds with one stone.
I don't think it would hurt having the information in places. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think we definitely need to, at some point when I've improved the onboarding in the Discord. But I think you're right. Like people do come in from both angles. So I think for now, if we could have the information in both places, it would probably lower the support queries, which isn't really a problem, or just make it easier for people to navigate their own way in. To be fair, most people I think get it. I can't remember who did that post. John, I think his name is. I think most people, once they find that, are okay. But I think it would be good to have the information in both places. But exactly how we do that.
Or direct all your support messages to Kemp so he can be our full-time customer support agent for Developer DAO.
Man, that's why I took that. Let's go. I actually don't mind much. I'm online all the time, but it's cool.
What about like as a proposal, if like this explanation about Mint, we make it on this direct minting maybe at the top of the page, and we keep the homepage like as it is, and like the call to action to go to that other page. So basically what I'm proposing is that direct minting effort that is doing right now, like I'm not sure who is in charge of that, but we add some information on top, and maybe we hide it on certain circumstances, but like we have that info in there.
I'm 100% for that. Keep the homepage as it is. There's 2 call to actions. You can go to different places, but there is a secondary page that kind of explains like a little bit more about how you can mint. You could mint it right there, and then talk about the idea like, hey, don't have enough money. There might be an option to apply or hit this email to be able to see about getting a free minted token and whatnot, or without having to pay anything.
Yeah, even if it's just like a Discord, like an Airtable that the emails go to, and we can get to it in the future when we have figured out how we're doing, like allowing people in other than buying the NFT.
Yeah, and that ties back to Nader has addressed having some intent to sponsor. I don't know if there's anything to really document for standards yet. But
Nah.
yeah, it's come up a couple of times, and we are trying to be aware of people that don't necessarily want to drop.
Yeah, I think as long as we acknowledge it, like we're aware this isn't the most thing at the moment in the world, and we plan to work on it, but it's kind of like the best solution for us at the moment. We're planning on addressing this in the near future. Leave your email here if you're interested. Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I think that's definitely on there. There's I'm trying to get Nader and I went back and forth. It was supposed to be public. We just screwed something up with the PR. Honestly, I don't know how we did it, but there was like a manifesto template in the main repo. It's really more like a kind of like canvas or mood board for the DAO. And there's some suggestions in there about how we could be more inclusive. And one of those things is definitely like bounties or token grants, so people can get in the future. I know that I have had at least one person directly send me a message to say, "Hey man, I really can't afford this, but I really want to join. Is there any work I can be able to get into the DAO?" And I just apologized profusely and just said, not right now, but keep an eye, and hopefully we'll have it sorted in the near future.
Sorry, this club is only for rich people. You can come back later.
All right.
But I think every DAO's had the same problem, right? Particularly as they've got more successful, it's got more expensive. So we ain't alone.
Price is coming back up, but there's still a sale on Ethereum from when I bought.
Just glad to do.
All right. I think that's kind of looped in pretty much everything else that was on the agenda. So we went from, we covered translations. We have our open PRs. I don't know if there's anything really specific to say. We've referenced, adding the Chinese family translation, direct minting.
Can I mention one thing? I'm loving the tooling that's being added around the website, but a lot of it I haven't used before. Could I suggest that if we add new tooling for testing or whatever, that alongside the new tooling, maybe someone suggests a resource to go learn it?
Absolutely. I wrote an article specifically about this. I think that's actually a really good idea. I actually also think that it might be an interesting way for us to create content on YouTube as well, if we did do a walkthrough on the specific tooling. So this kind of ties in with Daiwa. I'm totally butchering this. Daiwa, is that right? Like with Art, you talked about he would probably take the lead on that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
So he'll probably do like the first intro of maybe some of the tech that's used with the site. And then what we could do is like for specific ones, we can go over, like one of the things that we're trying to implement is like a CI/CD process with Docker and Hard Hat. So we can do some automated tests that way with GitHub Actions. Happy to take that to kind of explain it. And what were the decisions that went into why we went this route. So, and I think that could tie back into just content for YouTube. So, yeah, absolutely, 100%. I agree with that.
And that's actually a great idea to implement in general about like presenting, because like one thing that I love about Discord is that how effortless is to just jump into a voice channel. So maybe we could like whenever a new kind of tool or something is introduced, we could do a quick call so that person can teach or educate the rest of us on like that kind of decision. I think that could be great for for the
Love that.
workflow.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's used Loom before.
Yeah,
I've heard people having a lot of success by like with your PR, you just like record a Loom explaining what's going on.
yeah.
I haven't done it. I've heard it's a great tool, so I would like to try it at some point. But just an option or a thought.
Yeah, I used it in sales, because in a sales element of my last role in growth, and it was amazing. It's really, really easy to use.
So, Greg, is that on like an action item, I guess? Like for, I was going to take the lead on that YouTube video or creating the content for that to do the walkthrough. And then like maybe there's another action item specifically on, I think we have like the list of all the tech that we're using with the developer DAO, and whatnot, but maybe we can make a, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like a legend, a way to be able to just do a inventory checklist of all the tech that's included with it and why we kind of decided to go with that.
Inventory
Yeah,
sounds
so-
like maybe describe it.
Did I what?
So-
Volunteer for that?
Like, he's not here to defend himself.
I feel like
So-
he's just like getting shit dumped on him. Like, yeah, he's gonna run the mob programming. He's gonna do all the YouTube stuff. He's got it covered.
Yeah.
I've got some laundry that he's doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I need
I
Dennis.
thought you were his proxy.
That's what you get when you propose yourself on a PR on a open source project.
See, we're
Okay,
all
so
learning
somebody's got to confirm what he's doing and see if he's okay with it, basically. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it makes sense. You know, he was involved in the shift to Next, and other than me running the shift to Next internationalization, I feel like he has been involved with a lot of the changes. And then, yeah, I don't think there's that many other tools that are in place right now yet. So he can probably cover it just with what he did in order to get us running on Next. And then as we come to other things, I saw it in one PR because someone had a PR that included a bunch of tools that, you know, got the job done but didn't get examined in the PR. I think that's probably the biggest thing. And then if we're really fancy and or lucky and someone else has solved this problem before us, there's got to be some way to look at your package.json and compare it on a PR, because that would, like, even if it just flags it and says this PR adds these new things, that would make life easier as a reviewer.
I think so back to our earlier discussion about that comparison for the translation files. Like if we did come up with a library or some tooling around that, we could totally like reuse it for like basically any file comparison. But yeah, I think we'd probably be it would be in our best interest to do a bit of research to see if it exists. I mean, there are like lots of file comparison like UI GUIs that do it, but I don't know if there's anything that's driven by code only.
Yeah, I've seen it. There's like a bot or a GitHub app or something that we can install that will like, anytime you make a PR and you install a new package, it will like create a little table of which packages were installed and like the size or something like that. There are definitely options.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, we just do it manually, but I like automation.
Yeah. I kind of like automation. I also like the idea of manually too, because like I think one of the things we can do to make ourselves valuable is like produce our own open source packages, and you know, like if we find things that are actually useful to other projects, we can get some attention just for our own project. Like look at what this DAO built itself, and now all these people are using. That's kind of why I like the idea of the translation dashboard, because it's like an easy, free thing anybody could reuse, unless there's something already really easy, in which case I'd rather just use that. But you know, there's always opportunities for us to like publish it and make it extremely public.
Yeah, I think that would be amazing. Like anything we can extract out that's useful that there isn't already even if there is already a solution for, like, if developers are our target market, then giving them tools to use is probably a pretty good way of getting in front of them and persuading them to want to participate.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I
we
think
could,
there's also like a lot of like, I think a lot of the people that we would want to get involved in this community are like people who are already pretty involved in open source. So if like we can show them that like, hey, we're already down this path and we're publishing things, like I think that might get some other maintainers interested.
Yeah,
How do we
makes sense.
can't see Dodds involved? That's really what I'm saying here.
Let's just aim for the moon right now.
Yeah.
Get KCD in this.
I've met him twice, and the thing that has always stood out the most about him to me is that, like, you know, he's extremely famous. So he's meeting all these people, and every time I've seen him at React Rally, he doesn't remember me from the last time, but he gets a person's name, and then he just remembers your name. He just calls you by name the whole rest of the time, even though he's meeting so many people. It's really cool. I'm jealous of that.
Yeah, I'm lucky if I
Random
remember.
story time.
Yeah. Oh, that's an impressive skill.
I could remember people from faces. That should be good enough, right?
Yeah. Hey, you're that face I saw some time ago.
Exactly. Or to get even worse, is you remember what they do, but not who they are.
a question about Chakra UI in general. If we wanted like extract consistent stuff that we built, it should be quite easy.
I think you're kind of breaking up there, Kemp.
Any better?
I think so. Say a longer sentence.
I assume
Yeah.
the way we're building with Chakra UI, if we wanted to have some consistency across different things that we may or may not build in the future, it would, the way that we're building it, like not like a full design system, but that would be an easier path towards making shareable components. This is just a curiosity question.
Yeah, for sure. Like one of the cool things is like we could publish the package or publish the theme as a package, and that takes care of like a ton of transferability between different projects that all use Chakra. So I think that will give us most of it. And if there's like components that common components that we might want in different apps, we could also like just create our own little component library package on top of it.
Yeah, like if we nail the minting flow, like I don't know what wallet is that everyone uses, Connect Wallet or whatever, like things like that. Package them up, spit them out into npm, and start building a little library of those things. And then also, like you say, packaging up the theme, and then just being able to spin up new projects with however much percentage of that groundwork already done.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, this has largely been miscellaneous, extended from PRs and stuff. Does anyone have anything else?
Yeah, there's a chat going on in the developer's voice text at the moment about using tools that people know. I think we are using Next, and we chose to use Chakra. If you go back through the issues, there is a conversation. I can try and find it and post it in the chat. That rather than having Chakra comes with lots of features, and you can correct me where I'm right or wrong here, Mark, but like around, I think like accessibility and being able to theme things that we don't have to build.
Yeah,
But
it's kind of like, sorry, you cut out a little bit. I didn't mean to interrupt you if you were still talking.
go, man. You're the man with the know-how.
Sure. Yeah, I think the big thing that we get out of Chakra is that like it's very much influenced by Tailwind, so a lot of the same concepts and the same like atomic styling, where you're like just targeting each individual thing, like the margin or the margin on the x-axis or padding or different things like that. Except with Chakra, you're using props rather than class names. Excuse me. And then the other big thing that we get from using a component library rather than just Tailwind is because it handles behavior. It can handle behavior that matches the YARIA specs for accessibility. So we get a lot of accessibility out of the box, along with a lot of behavior that we just don't even have to care about, which is nice.
Plus, Mark's a maintainer of the project, so if we get stuck, he can just fix it.
Yes, that helps.
Free support.
Yeah, feel free to just like CC me on PRs to anything that involves Chakra, and I'll just give you free advice.
Yeah, just having lived with accessibility work, it is horribly painful, so not having to do it is absolutely worth learning a new package for.
Yeah, there is a Mark shared a free Egghead course as well that gets people up to speed on it pretty quick. But I think Mark is from the team, right?
Yeah.
And just for everyone who's chatting in developer's voice text, I'm streaming video based on the DevDAO website meeting thread that was started by the bot. So, you can still use developer's voice text, but that's lost forever, and the stuff in the thread is going to be part of the video captured from this. Which, maybe a reason not to join the channel. It's up to you. All right. So I've got a number of notes. I've got 3 action items. One is for Daiwat to do all the things in perpetuity, by which I mean to make a walkthrough video of our current stack, and then currently unassigned, make a legend and inventory of what we have in place. Maybe that makes sense to be on Daiwat to go with that video. I'm going to say that it is. And then if he wants to push back on it, that's cool too, and we can work something out. And then make or find something to call out additions to package.json dependencies. There's the translate. Where did I put the translation on? I will also copy the translation one down here.
Did you already address also like creating a second page as a call item for connecting wallets, etc., as a design proposal, or did you already talk about that?
So there was a lot of talk about the design proposal. I don't really know where the path forward is on the design proposal. Obviously, there's that pretty solid thread related to the PR. Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about that there or talk about that in the thread? Sorry, I said the same thing twice. Do you want to talk about it on the thread, or do you want to talk about it here?
Well, I just want to know what the next steps are. So, forgive me, Marbiano. Is that right?
Yeah.
I guess the next step would be to create that second page, I'm guessing, for when they click join. What would that look like in terms of that interaction? Correct?
Yeah. So we talk about like working on the text in parallel. So that's one part. Like next step one would be to kind of review the text on the actual landing page. We also talk about doing this like the initial steps of an implementation, and that's where Daiwat comes with like probably like customizing the chakras theme. Regarding the second page, I just saw the pull request for direct minting, but I'm not sure what's the current status of that, or like how I could like I would be happy to just kind of jump into that, but like I would probably need to talk with whoever is in charge of that PR.
Maybe we get maybe we make an effort to. update Nagma on the conversation. She's the one who picked up that and is doing that PR, I think. Update Nagma on the conversation we've had about the homepage and direct minting, and then see if she can get on the programming sesh where we do the homepage, and then that might make it much easier for her if she still wants to build that to go ahead and convert what she's done to follow.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I'll probably just like in the meantime, kind of create a quick version of like on Figma of that page with what she kind of proposed it on the PR, because I think there's a visual for the proposal, right? So I'll probably kind of start from there.
Yeah, I don't think that should be like a blocker to, like, honestly, in a perfect world, what will happen is that PR gets like merged down. I think there's a couple things that just need to be changed. There was like a couple translations things that we needed to get changed up there. But once it does get merged down, because I think that's probably going to get done prior to getting the full design done. But in terms of the functionality, etc., it'll just follow suit in terms of the design, and we'll just fold that in with whatever direction you kind of take from that, right? And even still, like the proposal you're going to make, we're obviously going to give feedback on it, and we'll say, hey, you can't really do that, like I can't do 3D tokens on that screen or whatever, right? But we'll try to help you give some direction in terms of from that technical point of view. So I don't think necessarily it's a blocker. I think you should still go ahead and design away, basically.
Yeah, absolutely, that works for me.
Sorry, gang, I know we're at time, but I just wanted to briefly touch on that the development guidelines draft PR and kind of where we want to go with that. So I know there's been a few folks that have taken a look at the development guidelines doc itself and left some really good comments and some back and forth. So I personally, I think we should kind of leave that document in the project itself, but like not reference it anywhere on the actual webpage, and use it kind of as a base like in the future and like to continue discussions. But so far, based on the feedback, I kind of took like the core elements of that document and kind of revamped the contributing doc and made it more inclusive, friendly, what have you. But please have a look-see if you haven't already. And I think I'll open up, I'll make it a legit PR, probably end the day today or tomorrow. And yeah, we can probably table it when we get to a point where the contributing doc is something like basic enough for anyone to get up and going. But in my opinion, I think it's pretty much there, plus minus any spelling mistakes. Yes.
Question for Mark then. Is there anything that you absolutely will like die on a hill, will not add, do not want to see in that contributing guideline? Because I know you and I have been kind of going back and forth on that, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, no, I don't view my role as like having the ability to just like refuse something. Like if you guys think it's useful, I want to do it. I just also don't have a problem like making sure my thoughts are out there about those kind of things, if that makes sense.
100%. So I guess the question I'm asking is more specifically for what Narb was mentioning, is the idea that should we make this, like, rename the file as draft_community guidelines, or we're like, hey, let's just merge it down. This seems good enough for now, and there's things that we just want to omit if they're just not been finalized, or just leave them as TBD. Like that's because I agree. Like that PR has been up for a while, and I think we've gone a couple of sessions back and forth in terms of things. But if there's something that really is like, hey, we don't necessarily agree on it, or there's just something that just hasn't been ironed out yet, like maybe we just omit that for now and then table that as a different PR, right?
I'm done with leaving it, like renaming it as draft, and I'm kind of leaning towards keeping it in the PR and the project repo itself, just so that it's like fully accessible to anyone, like versus like having it just in the Google Docs. I mean, we can keep Google Docs as like a backup of the backup. But yeah, it's like the intent is basically to like signify that this is not like set in stone by any means, and it's just like something that's continuously evolving as we evolve. So, but yeah,
We could just rename it bike shedding.md.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for whatever.
Sweet.
I think, like, truth be told, like, if we get any sort of size, like, most people probably aren't even going to read either of them anyway. So it's just like,
That's what
you
you're
know,
betting on?
I think that's just kind of like where, just trying to, like, little hints here and there of, like, at the end of the day, it all comes down to humans. Like, we have to have good reviewers and we have to trust them, because it doesn't matter what we put in documents if people don't read it. It's not helpful, But it is helpful if they do read it, so I do want those things.
Indeed. Yeah.
Perfect. Then let's merge it down.
Yep, that is an action item, so get that done.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll make the PR sometime today, like the legit PR sometime today, and then, we can call that done.
Sounds good. So, unless there are any other last minute things, I think we'll close the meeting here. Get my screen
I did
share.
have a thing,
Okay.
but I don't remember the thing anymore.
I love that this is being recorded. That exact thing.
Yeah, we were like halfway through, and I was like, okay, before we end, I need to talk about this thing that I've been wanting to talk about, and then it's gone.
Like roles.
I don't know. I'm in my 30s, so what do you want from me?
Yeah. Same.
Like translations, minting, process, design. What is it?
Yeah, it'll come to me. I should have just written it down. I have the document open and I'm taking notes. I could have just written it down.
Is it related to chakra videos, YouTube, Twitter, social media?
Nope. None of them are ringing a bell. Like I wasn't even here. No. Yeah, I don't know. If I remember it, I'll just talk about it in the channel. It's probably not that important.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yep, sounds good. I will try to get the notes.
Oh.
Of
course it comes back right now.
Yeah.
I think I would like to rename the repo to developerdao.com to make it very obvious that repo is the site repo. What are people's thoughts on that?
Love it. That I follow that same convention as well.
Yep. Yeah, I'm done.
Just do it.
Cool. All right. Doing it.
Maybe mention in the developer website, the developer thread, just say, hey guys, we're doing a new web update. So if you're doing PRs or etc., and you go to a website and you don't see it, just know that it's changed.
I think GitHub will just redirect it anyway. As long as we don't just immediately create another repo named developer DAO.
100%, yeah, probably, but it's good to know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do that.
All right then. Well, thank you all for coming. We'll get stuff out soonish, and we'll talk in a week. And Discord in the meantime.
Yeah, I'll try to actually plan ahead of time so it's not just hey, are we having this meeting in 12 hours?
Yeah, I mean,
but also the bot should automate it.
Yeah, exactly. We should be good now because we're just going to by default have this time slot every week until someone comes up with a alternative.
Right.
So. I'll look at moving that event from the event. We can look at moving that event bot from the event channel into the website channel if we want. So when the bot goes tomorrow, when it goes, hey, there's an event, it will happen in the website channel. If we think that would be easier and more discoverable.
Yeah, for sure.
I honestly would like it if the events channel was locked, and I'm probably more guilty than most in terms of spamming out the events channel with not just the event notification.
I was thinking exactly the same thing earlier when me and you were chatting about it, and I was like, I probably shouldn't be posting this GIF.
Yeah, so if we could have the events channel just be the bot, and then the mods, whatever is necessary to interact with the bot, like that'll keep it clean, and anyone who wants to show up to all the things can look there. But then if we can also have the bot posting to the associated channel, that may be more than the bot wants to do. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll figure out if it can do both, and I will back on that and let you know.
Cool.
Put it as an action item because I will potentially forget because I've got to do something.
That'll be the only channel I consistently look at is the website channel. There's just Discord is fucking chaos.
Yeah.
I'm in like 30 servers. I don't even have the mental capacity to look at 75% of them, and then the ones that I do, it's like I can't follow all these conversations all day long. I'll never get anything done. I could spend the whole day in Discord and never get out of it.
Yeah.
We'll leave it to Kemp. He does all that. He does all the heavy
Yeah.
reading every single message, basically.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. If you were here, I would salute you.
All right.
Got that.